I'm Steve Morgan, founder of Cybersecurity Ventures and editor-in-chief at Cybercrime magazine. I'm here today with Alissa Abdullah, PhD, aka Dr. J, Deputy Chief Security Officer and Senior Vice President of Emerging Corporate Security Solutions at Mastercard. This interview is sponsored by KnowBe4, the world's first and largest new school security awareness and simulated phishing platform that helps you manage the ongoing problem of social engineering. To learn more about our sponsor KnowBe4, visit knowbe4.com. Dr. J, welcome. Great to have you back.
Hi, Steve. Great to be back with you.
So it's October, Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and we're here to talk about security awareness training for employees. Before we jump in, Dr. J, tell us about your experience training people over the years. I know that prior to Mastercard, you were the CSO at Xerox. You've held other positions, including one at the White House. You've trained so many people. Just give us a little background.
So, training has evolved, just like universities and the way that they train has evolved. Certifications and, that being a hot thing, that has evolved. And so how we train has evolved as well. At one point in time, we thought the normal do an annual training and that was going to be enough. But now the way people consume data, the way that people consume information has changed. We're in a TikTok era, right? And everyone wants something to be short and quick. So we have to kind of move with that evolution. So that's kind of how I've seen trainings changing as well.
So I'm curious, before we jump into the mechanics of training and the types of programs there are, how important is it? So security leaders at major enterprises, Fortune 500 companies, mid-market companies, I mean, these security leaders are dealing with everything from endpoint protection to cloud security, you name it. There's so much on their plate. How important is it to train employees?
I think it goes without saying it's super important. That is something just like, I go by Dr. J, and so that has some athletic tones to it from Dr. J of the 76ers. But, just like professional athletes train, just like singers practice singing, we have to continuously sharpen our pencils, sharpen our knobs, sharpen our brains on our skill set. And we have to continue to train on cybersecurity. It's not something that it's something that everyone should know about or should have some basic foundational understanding of, because it has gotten throughout all of our infrastructures and homes and things like that it's not something that's just the responsibility of the cybersecurity organization. Regardless of whether you're working or not, you have to know a little bit about cybersecurity in order to protect your own data, whether it's home, whether it's children, just kind of no matter what.
So we had a large enterprise CISO in the healthcare space on with us recently. We were chatting and he said, if you're going to do an annual training, don't do it. It's worthless. If you're going to train people once a year, it's a waste of time. What do you think? How often should people be trained? What's a good cadence? Do you need a program with regularity?
I think we have to be balanced when we say that. I can't say that it's a waste of time because something is better than nothing. But you think about retention of data, retention of information, the value of that information and the ability to retain it goes down as the months go, right? My long-term memory is horrible. My short-term memory is great. You have to think about your own culture and what they're able to consume and the amount of risk that you're taking. We try to throttle and put, whether it's an email or whether it's a cute message or whether it's a, message or an article on your hub page or your internal intranet page, or whether it's your CISO saying something or whether you bring someone in. I think now we're at a stage and at a moment in time period where repetitiveness helps make it stick. That is the glue that's going to make it stick. And just like, these kids, they're doing TikTok dances. I mentioned that just, in our first question, but this is the TikTok era and they're learning and practicing, right? And the way that they're learning and practicing and they're able to do it on TikTok is because they practice it at night. You see them in the grocery stores, they're practicing. We have to think of cybersecurity and our training in the same way. Practice. Think about it, talk about it, little hints, little tricks, little games, this, that. We've got to continuously probe little by little, because that is the glue that holds it together, rather than sit down, do an hour's worth of training, and then we'll see you next year.
So Dr. J, we have a lot of security executives who tune into us, and they're looking for, do's and don'ts. They're trying to get it right. I want to ask you about phishing simulation. That's one aspect of a program. And I often wonder myself, is there a line? For instance, could you phish your employees with a message to try to motivate them to click, to trick them? You've won a prize, you've won $10,000, $20,000, and maybe that employee tells their spouse and they're spending the money. And, is there, some area where you have to be careful with that?
No. And I'm just gonna say all out no. There's no area where you have to be careful with that. Guess what? The adversary is not being careful. So what I want us to try to do, and one of the things that we do well, I think within our organization at Mastercard, I'll just do a shameless plug real quick, is we look at the exact messages that come through as the adversary is probing us, and we replicate those messages and do spear phishing campaigns within our employee base. I think when you try to throttle that, there's a benefit, but then there is a con to that as well. The benefit is you want to take your employees through a journey. You do want to start easy and get harder and harder and harder and harder, but you can't stay at easy, because the adversary is now being more sophisticated. And so as the adversary is being more sophisticated, your spear phishing campaigns with your employees have to be more sophisticated. They have to show exactly what the adversary is going to give you. And I'll tell you this, the adversary is going to give it to you whether you're in your business environment or whether you're in your home environment. So it's great to see it within the confines of our companies as a campaign, so that we know how to handle it, not just in the business environment, but in our home environments.
So Dr. J, do you have any easy to remember mottos, catchphrases for employees that you've either used in the past or some new ones?
Yes, absolutely. I'm just going to, rip the Band-Aid off. My favorite one is, I don't know you like that. And Sekou Andrews is the one who coined this for us. He's a Grammy Award winning orator, and it is amazing. And the way you use it is, with all emails that come in, do you say, I don't know you like that? And, it doesn't work. It doesn't work unless you have the attitude and the sass behind it. So it's, I don't know you like that. Or it's, I don't know you like that. Or it's, I don't know you like that. So Steve, you may send me something, and Stephen, you and I have had a relationship, known each other for years, but you may send me an email that's asking for, a certain amount of Bitcoin, and I'll say, I don't know you like that, right? Or if I'll take, one of your producers, Mo, he sends me an email saying, hey, Dr. J, I want you to speak at blah, 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 in New Mexico. And then I'm like, I don't know you like that, because Mo has never approached me about speaking at blah, blah, blah in New Mexico. So, it's how you say it. And it's so catchy because, before Sekou gave it to us and helped us with that, my daughter was going around telling her friends, I don't know you like that, really, really sassy. But if you think about it with that in mind, and how you receive emails, how you process information and request in emails, whether you click on it, whether you engage with the person on the other end, because now we've seen spear phishing attacks that don't literally mean you have to click on, but just any little engagement kind of gets you in trouble and gets you wrapped up. But if you back yourself up and say, I don't know you like that, and think about it, it gives you an opportunity to stop, take a pause, and process. And so to me, that of all other phrases that I have heard, that I've been a part of, that I don't know you like that phrase, I have given that to my mom, and she understands, that and how you use that phrase.
I love it, and my 75-year-old aunt is going to love it. I know that because she listens to every episode of Mastering Cyber. You're the host. It's a 1-minute podcast. It's sponsored by Mastercard. It's one of the most popular that we produce, and it's remarkable because my aunt listens to it, but Fortune 500 CISOs listen to it. You have people up and down the food chain. I don't know how you dispense this advice because you speak to topics. I've heard you on multi-factor authentication and a lot of other topics, and how you're able to spin that to so many different people. It's amazing. So let me ask you to give us just one. You've recorded over 100 episodes. Just anything you can share for anybody, because it is Security Awareness Month and people are hungry for advice and how to protect themselves.
This is a good one because I have so many in my mind and so much in my repository. I think the one that gets me right now the most may be a small attack that's surfacing called MFA fatigue. And I'm speaking about this because a lot of people, when you're doing your banking, you get a prompt. Banks have pushed this out. And I say banks in particular, a lot of other organizations and companies have pushed this out as well. But I know it's very prominent in the banking industry. But they've pushed out the ability to use multi-factor authentication, and it pops up. I just did an episode on MFA fatigue that says, stop, pause, and then click approve, because a lot of times the adversary is now using those prompts to try to get us to just kind of be tired of the prompt. It'll prompt over and over and over and over again. And then all of a sudden you just click OK. No, I always want you to stop, pause, like the fire drill, stop, drop, and roll. I want you to stop, pause, and think about it for a second to say, number one, did I even try to log in somewhere that uses MFA? Did I even engage in anything that required this type of request? A lot of times our cybersecurity is just about stopping, slowing down for a second, taking a pause before we react. And I think that is one of my tips, because that goes through all of the different episodes. Really is about, I've talked about a lot of things, from whether you take a picture of your kids and put all their information on the chalkboard for school, or, this one, but it's really cybersecurity tips, terms, and topics that really cause you to stop, drop, and pause for a second before you engage with something.
Before we let you go, Dr. J, we really, really need you to speak to small businesses. More than half of cyber attacks strike these companies. They don't have a Dr. J. They do not have a CISO. They don't have cybersecurity teams. Some of them don't even have IT teams, and they're under attack. Some of them shut down. I read a report that said more than 50% of small businesses who are hit with a cyber attack closed down within 6 months. Maybe that's, an overstatement, but what advice do you have for these companies that don't have the type of resources that a Mastercard does?
I think it's important for you to know what you can and can't do, should and shouldn't do. There are resources out there, free resources, whether you go to the CISO website. CISO has free resources and guidance on how you should prioritize and what you should be thinking about. Mastercard, we're in partnership with the Global Cyber Alliance. We have a small business toolkit, free resources. Again, if you Google free cybersecurity resources, a lot of things will pop up, so you're not feeling so overwhelmed like you have to boil the ocean. And so I think it's really important just to kind of do your homework, prioritize what's important, focus on your crown jewels, your most sensitive data, focus on your employees so they're not letting the enemy in, and think about it from that perspective. Use the tools that are available. Like I said, CISA, Small Business Toolkit from the Global Cyber Alliance. I believe FBI has a toolkit that's out as well, or has resources that are out. All of these things are free. Small Business Association has one as well. There's also the Cyber Readiness Institute that has multiple resources. And when I talk about resources, I'm not just talking about technology tools. I'm talking about they have processes and procedures that you can adopt and modify and make as your own. And so the information is out there to help small businesses. And if you can't find the information, you can always, contact me. I'm easy to find. I'm on all social media platforms, easy to find. Contact Mastercard, contact CISA. The information is really, really, really out there. And then the last thing I think I want to plug is the Mastercard Trust Center. Trust Center has free resources. It also holds a link to the Mastering Cyber podcast, where you can start out with your cybersecurity tips, terms, and topics. Like I said, Steve, the resources are out there. I think we're trying to do a really good job of making sure everyone knows that the resources are out there. There are a couple of episodes, in fact, plenty of episodes on it in the Mastering Cyber podcast series.
Dr. J, we really appreciate having you come on, and I hope you could do this again before the holidays, because there's a lot of holiday scams out there, and they're just waiting for Black Friday shoppers, and I don't have to tell you. So hope we can talk again soon.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I always enjoy talking to you, Steve. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. J. I'm Steve Morgan, founder of Cybersecurity Ventures and editor-in-chief at Cybercrime magazine. This interview is sponsored by KnowBe4, the world's first and largest new school security awareness training and simulated phishing platform that helps you manage the ongoing problem of social engineering. To learn more about our sponsor KnowBe4, visit knowbe4.com. You can keep up with all of our media at cybercrimemagazine.com.